Okay, guys, back in the office. I know you're used to my backgrounds being different. Some of you have commented on it. Just back in the office today, going through Philippians. We're going because we feel like we're in house arrest, and Paul here is writing to the Philippians while under house arrest. We're reading this and kind of seeing how he deals with being under house arrest. And he starts out with a prayer, and I'm asking that you guys continue to pray for me, and I'm continuing to pray for you as we study this together. But he also goes on to try and put everything in perspective, into the mindset, into the focus, into the perspective of Christ. And so everything that he has done so far has kind of led to that part. Today we're going to look at verses 12 through 18 of chapter 2 from Philippians. So let's go ahead and read that.
Therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, so now, not only as in my presence, but much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for his good pleasure. Do all things without grumbling or questioning, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world, holding fast to the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I may be proud that I did not run in vain or labor in vain. Even if I am to be poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrificial offering of your faith, I am glad and rejoice with you all. Likewise, you also should be glad and rejoice with me.
Okay, so there's this story of a guy who is an architect, and he was a very young guy working in a very old, ugly city, and all the buildings before him had been made for not for their beauty, but for their function. And so he was tasked with building a beautiful building in the middle of all this stuff, and he was very passionate about it and wanted to build the most beautiful building that he could. And while he was working on it, though, he fell ill. And he was no longer able to personally work on it, but he stayed passionate about it, and he continued to give people instructions. And he's quoted as saying this: "When people think of me, I want them to think of this beautiful building. You've got to make it so it stands like a lighthouse in a dark storm, showing people that there is a such thing as beauty, even if everything around is ugliness." I think here in this verse, one of the things that Paul is trying to tell us and trying to get us to is to be this kind of lighthouse, to be the kind of person that stands out. In verse 15, he says, or verse 14, he says, "Do all these things without grumbling or questioning, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God, without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world." Now, don't mix this up. This isn't him saying that you have to be perfect. What he's saying is we have to be better. We have to shine out in the world, shine out as being different from the world in how pure we are, and how our focus on Christ has led to a lifestyle that makes us a light in this dark, twisted generation. And like the guy says here in his quote, he wants his building to stand out like a lighthouse in a dark storm. What I want to challenge us to do is stand out like a lighthouse in this dark storm that's going on right now in our crazy lives right here with this virus. There's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of people who are worried and stressed. There's a lot of boredom. There's a lot of things that are out there that are dragging us away from our focus on Christ. What I want to challenge us to do, what I want to challenge you to do, is be a light to somebody today. Whether it's somebody in your family or one of your friends that you can call, or a church member, or someone who maybe lives alone, be a light to somebody. Whether today or tomorrow, be a light. Shine in the midst of this dark storm that we have going on. Be a light and shine a light on Christ.